This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, April the 12th. Please stand for our invocation by Pastor Roger Stanton. There's the Vestita Christian Center. And remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Statement of rules.
And good morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's good to see everyone on this Holy Week. Welcome to our City Council meeting, April the 12th, 2022. At this meeting, we do have rules, and our rules are, at this time, we ask if anyone that has any type of electronic device to put on the off or the vibrate position. The off or the vibrate position. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. on a Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to address must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates the time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize the council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of April 5th.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Communications from the mayor's office.
So Mayor Stimson could not be here today because he's attending a pair of pretty exciting events that are occurring here in Mobile. And so it will greatly benefit our region, so I'll be making comments on his behalf. But first, there are two companies that have announced at the South Alabama Logistics Park. Governor Kay Ivey was in Mobile this morning to announce that the first of two companies locating to the South Alabama Logistics Park, a New York-based automotive equipment manufacturer, DC Safety, is relocating its entire headquarters and its operations to SALT. We also have Averitt Express, a leading provider of freight transportation with supply chain solutions. It's expanding its current or existing operations here in Mobile to the South Alabama Logistics Park. The combined investment of the two companies is more than $56 million for Mobile County. SALT will be the largest master plan logistics park in the Southeast. With the continued expansion of the port and the Mobile International Airport, the opportunity for logistics growth is actually unparalleled in the region. It will propel the Mobile region toward becoming an even more significant distribution hub. Austal, also a second event with Austal, they begin their new production of steel ship line here in Mobile. After years of building quality aluminum ships for the U.S. Navy, Austal is expanding into the steel ship production starting today. It expanded its facility last year, vowed to begin construction April of 2022, and they are right on schedule. They have also received a $144 million contract from the Navy to design and build 2 towing, salvage, and rescue ships last fall. Mobile was the center of shipbuilding in World War II, and because of Austal's hard work and investment in the city, they will make Mobile the epicenter of shipbuilding in our nation once again. Also, this week, we are announcing the National Community Development Week, created to educate public officials in the community on the importance of the Community Development Block Grant, or commonly referred to as CDBG, and other federal grant programs. In Mobile, these kind of federal grants have played a significant role in programs related to affordable housing, public services, and expanding economic opportunities. They also support public services the city's nonprofit partners do in the community in the areas of homelessness, health care, senior care, community programming, and more. 6 of those nonprofit partners are set up in the atrium today, and I believe everybody saw them setting up as part of the CDBG Public Service Day. I'm going to call out these 6 organizations, and if their representatives would come down to the podium for a proclamation. But the Dumas Wesley Community Center, Ozanam Charitable Pharmacy, Dearborn YMCA, Mobile Area Interfaith Conference Incorporated, the VIA Center, Senior Center, Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama. So as they gather, the proclamation reads that whereas the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development implemented the Community Development Block Grant Program in 1974 for the purpose of providing local governments with the financial resources to assist with low and moderate income persons. And whereas the City of Mobile has utilized nonprofit and neighborhood-based organizations to address neighborhood and business needs, and whereas the CDBG program has made a significant impact on our community through the creation of skill training programs, new home construction, owner-occupied rehabilitation of housing, parks and recreational activities, and water, sewer, and drainage improvements. And whereas the City of Mobile and other local governments have clearly demonstrated the capacity to administer the CDBG program to identify, prioritize, and resolve pressing local problems. Now, therefore, Mayor William S. Stimpson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, Alabama, do hereby proclaim the week of April 11th through 14 of 2022 as the National Community Development Week in the City of Mobile, done at the City of Mobile, Alabama, this 12th day of April 2022, signed William S. Stimpson.
Squeezing you.
So Shonda Smith is going to recognize the Public Works Employees of the Month.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we are excited again to bring our employees of the month from Public Services for Public Works. And our first representative is Miss Beverly, who's going to present to Miss Lisa Foster.
Good morning. It's an honor to present Lisa this morning. I've only been able to work with her for the past 3 years, but she's been a City of Mobile employee for, I think, a little over 20 years. I also got to nominate her for this, and I'm very happy she won. Lisa has, like I said, been a fabulous employee for many years, but what brought her to the forefront of my experience is that this last year or so, she's had to take over for a second employee in her department who's been out on extended medical leave, and so she flawlessly blended all that into her duties. And then I'm in traffic engineering, she's in electrical engineering, and then we had an employee retire, and so for several months then she took over her responsibilities also. So she was doing the job of 3 people for several months, and now she's training our retiree's replacement. And she's just a fabulous, always employee, and she really steps up when necessary, and she always does it very professional and extremely kind. So I'm very proud. Honored.
Thank you. Lisa said no. So our next presentation is for Parks and Recreation. And I have the honor of recognizing Miss Melanie Johnson. I told her I was going to be nice. Miss Melanie has been with Parks and Recreation for 36 and a half years. She started off working with the community program where we did classes inside of the schools, and is very much a passion of hers of programming. I call her the customer service community engagement person because she knows everyone and everyone calls her. So when she calls me, I know it's some issue I need to address. She has informed us that she will also be retiring this year. So she is currently over our community engagement, but she also has taken on the task of doing all our surveys and evaluations. So now all of our programs, there's surveys done, there's evaluation and assessment, and she's taken that on for the department, and it has been a great asset for us to determine what services we provide. So with that, I would like to congratulate Ms. Melanie Johnson as Employee of the Month.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank my family and my coworkers because they are truly a team. We all try to work together and help each other to better serve the citizens of Mobile. So thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And the last one is Public Services with Mr. Charles Sumrall representing Mr. George Wells.
Good morning. I want to introduce Mr. George Wells. Mr. Wells has been employed with the City of Mobile for the last 9 years. He's had performed welding, burning, and fabrication on the city equipment on a daily and does an exceptional job. George has stepped up as a welding shop supervisor in the absence of the supervisor at that time. George worked very well with others and his co-workers and has received several letters of commendation from the supervisor as well from the mayor of the City of Mobile. This, for me, George, your work does not go unnoticed. Please know that we appreciate all that you does for us at the garage. This is just a small token of all gratitude. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the city for the opportunity, and I'd like to thank for this award and my constituents for selecting me to be the award winner. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
President Small, that'll conclude the communications from the mayor.
Thank you, Chief of Staff. Some great news for the city of Mobile. With all the great news that you had presented to this body this morning, Chief. I do have a request, and I do understand that we have a lot of jobs in the city of Mobile, but is there any kind of way possible that there can be a link on the city website or a link to the city website that will hook up to the chamber where we can say jobs, in the city of Mobile, because we have so many people that visit our website, but they're not really just affirming how many jobs openings that is out there. And I believe that may be a great opportunity to bring people into our city looking for work if they know that there are jobs out here in the city of Mobile.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll follow up on that and make sure. We're also using other social platforms like Indeed and LinkedIn to attract some of the professional and skilled talent. But we're also working on some very forthcoming programs, I think, that we'll be willing to discuss with you about how to really help at our entry level, non-professional or unskilled trade as well.
All right, thank you so much. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Jones.
Good morning. I have a special proclamation this morning. Tiffany, if you'll come down with your group. Tiffany is the CEO of Ambitiously His and Hers King Foundation, which is a nonprofit that works with single mothers to try and get them placed from low-paying jobs and positions with no benefits to administrative-type jobs where they have a future and can grow and develop themselves and give themselves job security and enhancement throughout the years. And this is an effort that she's taken on, and we're getting, as we head to Administrative Assistance Day later this week, we're going to recognize this organization this week. So Tiffany is city council representative and a dear friend and supporter. She's also a veteran who came back to make a difference in her city. I'm going to read this proclamation from the city of Mobile that states, whereas the Administrative Professionals Day was created in 1945 to attract workers to the industry after new technology entered the business place, and whereas Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation provides teens and young adult parents with appropriate skills to live productive, positive, and contributing lives via mentoring and job development programs, and whereas Amazing Admins is an event created by the Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation that will include an award breakfast to celebrate Administrative Professional Day and the admins of the city of Mobile, whereas Amazing Admins will honor 12 executive administrative assistants who will act as mentors for the Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation Job Development Program, the Blue Ocean Admin Academy. Therefore, I, Scott Jones, council member of District 6, along with the members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, April the 22nd, as Amazing Admins Day. Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a picture, and then I'll give you the mic, and you can introduce these folks. And I'll give the floor to you. Thank you for making a difference in our great city. You have the floor.
Good morning, council members, staff, administration, and everyone here who is present. I would like to say, although I am very honored, I am not the founder of Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation. I am the presiding board member, and I would like to give the microphone to the executive director and founder, LaTanya Patterson, who has worked so tirelessly to support the young adult parents in the city of Mobile. Ms. Patterson.
Hello, everyone. I am LaTanya Patterson. I'm the executive director and CEO of Ambitiously Him and Her King Foundation. And I just want to thank you guys on the behalf of the young parents. We brought one today. We currently gave her a job as our office assistant. She is a young mother of 2. And I would like to thank you guys for your support within the city. Thank you.
Hey, could you just tell us who all with you all?
I have my board members. I have Miss Andrea Hudson, Miss Trina Smith, Miss Tiffany Harris James, Miss Kalani Allen, and our young parent, Alicia Oakley, who is our office assistant.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Adoption of the agenda.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals. Today is the appeal of the Planning Commission's approval for a PUD to allow multiple buildings on a single building site at 186 Stanton Road.
Is the appeal in the ordinance this morning? You come on down.
Good morning, and thank you all for allowing me to appear. I'm Michael Horton. I'm president of the Linwood HOA Association, and we have
Give
several.
us your address also, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1805 South Indian Creek Drive.
Thank you.
There are several issues with the plan that was submitted with the board, and I'd like to go over those all. I know their time is limited, so I'll only do 4. Traffic is a big concern in Linwood. We get a lot of traffic through Oak Knoll onto Mobile Infirmary and back and forth. It's an area where we ride bikes in, we walk dogs, extremely dangerous. I'm afraid with this new project, what's going to happen if we don't have a traffic study for the area is that people turning out of the project, when Stanton backs up to Spring Hill, that people are going to turn right and then again turn right into Oak Knoll, which will come through the neighborhood. There's roughly going to be about 80 more cars come through there. There's no traffic study that was done. There's no traffic planned because it doesn't meet the minimum of 100 units. But we do have an existing problem now. Even at the City Planning Commission, there was a short discussion about it, but it ended with the 100 unit issue that there's not 100 units in this project. But it is a grave problem for us as it stands before this project is built. Number 2 is emergency vehicles will not be able to maneuver into the project the way that it's planned. There was one plan that was PUD that was submitted to the city. There was an original one that was submitted to us at a neighborhood planning meeting. Both are different. There's no way that these vehicles, emergency vehicles, are going to be able to turn around in the unit, so there's going to be more. It's probably going to have to go back to the City Planning Commission. The number 3, which is a very big issue for a lot of the homeowners who back up to this unit, this project, there are several trees on the project that are worth saving. The way that the project is set, all of the land is going to be used. There's no detail. Number 4, no detail on the construction type. We've not seen anything. The Planning Commission, I don't believe, has seen anything. We're also worried about the materials they'll be built out of. No renderings, elevations are shown. We're also very concerned about street lamps, security lighting, parking lot lights that may interfere with the neighborhood. They should be dark sky compliant. PUDs are supposed to be compatible with the surrounding areas and not create undue congestion on our minor residential streets. Number 1 and number 4 relate to the compatibility and traffic congestion. PUDs also are plan site specific. Items 2 and 3 illustrate that the site plan may have been developed prematurely and is very likely to change. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is anyone else present? Yes, sir. Come on down. Your name and address, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill Smith, and I live at 1802 South Indian Creek, which is in that subdivision. I have 2 main concerns, and that is traffic and the trees. Main concern with the traffic is on Stanton Road, there have been several major accidents at the corner of Stanton Road and Spring Hill at the exit. And this development will only increase the traffic pattern and the traffic flow in that subdivision. In Oak Knoll, the traffic is already heavy coming from back and forth from Mobile Infirmary Hospital. That traffic will also increase because people are trying to get on Spring Hill with the traffic pattern already heavy. That's the easiest out is going through the subdivision to get exit at the next light on Mobile Infirmary Boulevard. So I know I've had a incident where I was bike riding and I was run off the road and had an accident and had to have surgery as a result of the traffic pattern and the speeding on Oak Knoll. Now, there are 2 traffic circles there, but the distance between those 2 traffic circles, people are in a hurry, and they are speeding. So I would like to see a traffic study done in that area to accommodate that. And obviously, the previous speaker indicated about the trees. We have a lot of live oak trees in the area, and they are worth preserving if at all possible. And I don't think any type of study has been done in terms of trying to preserve those trees. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? President.
Mr. President, someone signed in. I can't understand the handwriting. It's at they're at 1906 Spring Hill Avenue.
That's you, sir. Come on down. Give us your name and your address, please.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Howell. My business address is 257 North Conception Street. I'm part of the development team for the project. I'd like to just kind of give a quick high-level view of what the development is and then a quick summary of the steps that we took leading up to the approval at the March 16th Planning Commission meeting. First, the development is a 44-unit Class A market rate rental community consisting of a mix of duplex and single-family detached structures. It includes an amenity building, a single gated entrance, and units that will be built with higher end finishes, including quartz countertops, stainless appliances, etc. Much like a lot of the country, the supply of available housing in Mobile is constrained, and this development aims to meet some of that demand for either the person looking to get closer to Mobile's downtown without living in the hustle and bustle of it, or the person looking for a new construction opportunity in the Midtown area. When we set out to pursue a new development, we stay focused on creating value for the folks that will be living in our projects, as well as adding value to the surrounding area. We originally submitted to the Planning Commission in January to be heard on a mid-February Planning Commission agenda. Hearing some concerns from the neighbors, we actively requested to be held over. And thanks to the efforts of Councilman Penn, we were able to coordinate and hold a meeting where we could share more about the development with neighbors, as well as take some of their suggestions and revise them and implement their suggestions into our plan as feasible. Some of those plan changes included reducing the unit count from 47 to 44 units. We drastically increased the setbacks along the property lines where our structures would abut neighboring residences from the required minimum 10-foot setback to a new minimum of 17 feet and reaching as high as 80 feet on the eastern end of the development. We added a proposed 8-foot wooden privacy fence between our property and the homes that front Oak Knoll, as well as the properties that we abut to the east. Following our neighborhood meeting, we did meet with the city's Urban Forestry Division, Peter Toller, on site to review the trees on our property. We learned that a lot of the trees in question were not healthy, and the adjustments that we made to the site plan allowed us to preserve both a 60-inch heritage oak and a 48-inch heritage oak that were both healthy. Preservation of these trees these days, when you're building around them, requires adhering to the city's recently adopted tree ordinance last year, and we know that we can do so and preserve those trees successfully. When we pursue a development, one of the most common concerns that we hear about is traffic. So naturally, it's an issue that we are sensitive to from the onset of a project. In this case, this particular parcel is zone B1, so our use is allowed by right. The B1 zoning designation does allow for a laundry list of less desirable uses, as well as uses that are significantly more impactful to traffic than what we proposed. We all rely on the city's traffic engineering professionals to set standards and provide feedback on our development. A residential use is at least impactful here. It's our understanding that the traffic engineering department does not request a traffic study on a residential project until it exceeds 100 units. This proposed development contains less than half of that. We're here to create a first-class living experience for our residents and to improve the areas that we build in. I'm confident that this proposed development accomplishes both of those goals by solidifying this parcel's use as one with minimum impact and with first-class residences. We appreciate and agree with the Planning Commission's decision to approve the proposed PUD based on the facts, and we are hoping for your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else present that would like to speak?
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Charles Tisher with Clark Gear Latham and Associates. My business address is 3901 Spring Hill Avenue. I'm the engineer of record for the proposed project, 186 Stanton Road. The reason my client applied for the PUD for this site is to allow multiple buildings on one site. We're asking for no variances to the city code with this PUD application. The proposed use is allowed by right with the property's current zoning of B1. We have exceeded the setback requirements adjacent to the residential properties, as previously discussed. We've exceeded the landscape requirements needed we are required 20,302 square feet of landscaping. We're providing over 76,000 square feet. 12,000 roughly of that is required to be frontage, and we're providing 18,000 square feet of frontage landscaping. The maximum allowed building site coverage is 45%. We're coming in at 26.5%. I know a lot of the concerns about lighting, turnarounds for fire trucks and emergency vehicles. These are all things that will be addressed when we go to permitting. We intend to follow the city's code all the way through on this. As I've stated, we're asking for no variances. The property is going to provide 44 units on the site in 24 buildings, plus one amenities building for 25 buildings total. The Planning Commission staff report states that based on the size of the property, the site could have up to 107 units on it. Regarding traffic, the PUD review examines the site with regard to its location to ensure that adequate access is provided without generating excess traffic along minor residential streets and residential districts outside of the PUD. It's my understanding that during the city's traffic review for this application, which is based on industry standards, we did not come close to the threshold that would trigger the requirement of a traffic impact study. In conclusion, it is our goal to provide a responsible development that fits with the area, the use fits with the zoning of the site, and the project provides housing that is a need for the city right now. My client and I agree with the Planning Commission's findings, and with their vote to approve this PUD, we hope that you all will uphold it as well. Thank you.
Is anyone else present? Mr. Penn, did you have anything to say?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Michael and Mr. Bill for coming down. It's always great to have constituents address the concerns and issues, so we like to hear from. But today, Chris, can you tell everyone just basically what's the job of the council that's presented for us today?
Yes, sir. On a PUD appeal, the role of the council is to act as an appeal court, not necessarily to have a brand new trial and make the decision over again, but determine whether the Planning Commission acted within their rules and the city's ordinances, and whether the Planning Commission's decision was arbitrary and capricious. Which is basically arbitrary is if the decision was made with no reasoning really to back it up. There was a discussion of all these issues back and forth at the Planning Commission level. And then also the third part of that is there substantial evidence in the record to back up the Planning Commission's decision. So after considering all that, the council can either grant the appeal, which would be overturning the Planning Commission, or uphold the Planning Commission decision.
So today, basically, we're just saying, did the Planning Commission follow their rules, policies, and regulations?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Based on that information, I put a motion to uphold the Planning Commission decision based on their following the guidelines and regulations that were presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, as the representative to this Planning Commission, I think that the Planning Commission did do their job. and I think that the developers have done an outstanding job of answering a lot of the questions that were raised. With that said, there is one issue that was addressed that I personally brought out with regards to the traffic study and asked the questions about what the requirements are. And when you have an issue that the residents come down and say we have a problem with traffic, and this development is going to add 44 units, which is 88 cars a day, times probably at least two trips a day, which is another 160 cars a day, and we say that's not going to increase the problem. I think we've got to relook the standard. The traffic standard right now is 100 units. And instead of having a number that is outlined, I think we need to do a better job as a city to listen and look and learn what the realities of the problems are. Understanding that traffic studies are costly and time-consuming, but we don't get this right in the city over and over and over again. And we see it at 5 o'clock every day throughout my district. And when we have residents come forward and say we've got a traffic problem and we don't address that problem, then we exacerbate that problem when we don't listen. So I would hope that we relook what our standards are with regards to the traffic engineering policies, and let's come up with something that works. I don't think a traffic study was outlandish. I think it was called for, but due to the way the standards are right now, we can't argue with that. And I think we need to relook that. Thank you.
Any other discussions?
Mr. President?
Mr. Penn?
And I totally agree with Councilman Jones. I think that's why it's important for constituents to voice their concerns, because it's some changes that we need to make it better. And so, again, thank you all for coming down, and hopefully we can work to fix those problems.
Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk.
We have a request for a waiver of the noise ordinance on April the 22nd, St. Stephen's Road, from 2 p.m. until 9 p.m. April 16th, from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. This is on North Hamilton Street. May the 1st, from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. And this is in Cooper Riverside Park. May 14th, in Langham Park, from 8 a.m. until 12 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Bill passes.
Public hearings today is a public hearing to rezone property located at 3015 and 3019 Pleasant Valley Road from R1 to R3.
Let's open up the public hearing for this particular item. If anyone present in the audience that would like to come down and address the council, you may do so by giving us your name and your address.
Good morning. My name is Thomas Ward, and I'm 704 Saddlebrook, Killen, Alabama, and I'm working with Mr. Clarence Ball to provide some additional affordable housing for seniors. This property is already owned by Mr. Ball. He owns the property next door. And what we're trying to do is build something within 65 close to downtown to provide the affordable housing. As you know, interest rates have been very good, but they're rising every day. So to get to this, we're going to have to get it zoned first and then go out and try to find the funds to build this project. Mr. Ball already has 4 projects within the county of Mobile, and all of them are affordable housing. He also owns nursing homes in Mobile. So this property is in an area that the Planning Commission believed was a great area.
Any questions from this council? Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Is anyone else present that would like to speak on this particular public hearing? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to rezone property located at 5400 Hamilton Boulevard from I-2 to I-1.
Is anyone present in the audience that would like to speak on this particular public hearing? You may do so now by coming down and addressing the council with your name and your address. If not, this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to consider a certificate of public convenience and necessity to MK non-emergency medical transport to operate a shuttle service.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular item. Is anyone in the audience present that would like to speak to the council? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Ofer Global, doing business as John Henry Transportation, to operate a sedan service.
Is anyone in the audience that's here to address the council on this particular item? You may do so by coming down, giving us your name and address. Let's open up this particular public hearing. If not, this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to declare the structure at 1300 Greenwood Avenue a public nuisance and order it demolished.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular item. If anyone present in the audience that would like to come down and address the council, you may do so at this time. If not, this particular public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Titus Thorne. Following Titus Thorne is Elizabeth Luther.
To the council and to the city administration. My name is Titus Thorne, the pastor of Big Zion Amy Zion Church. I live at 110 South Bayou Street here in Mobile. 2 weeks ago, there was a 911 situation here in the gallery, and I want to thank Sister Sabrina and those that helped. But I want to thank my brother, Chief of Staff, Brother Barber. There was a lady in need. Your quick response, your support, your compassion, Brother Barber, moved beyond politics and self-interest. I doubt if you knew her name. I doubt if you knew what district she resided in. I doubt if you even knew what she was here for. But you saw a 911 situation and you responded to the concerns of someone else. No politics, no self-interest, just meeting the needs of the people, doing what is right. I'm sure 911 was called immediately, but it took over 15 minutes to get to the chamber where the highest city officials and concerned citizens meet. I had a problem with a slow response, but a slow response is better than no response. Nevertheless, that real-time response to action, Chief Barber, should be an example to follow by all city officials. Identifying a 911 situation and meeting the needs of the people and doing what is right. It's a 911, y'all. The redistricting needs a better response, support from all elected officials. To move beyond politics and self-interest, let's do what's right. Your moral obligation to the city of Mobile will help us to believe in Mobile. And draw the lines that reflect the latest census. A majority black city does not need what one councilman said, and I quote, 4 black faces, unquote, which is negative, derogatory, and quite offensive, and honestly embarrassing. The elected official would use that terminology in 2022. But a majority black city does need majority black representation. The mayor had promised Mobile a 4th black majority voting district, and he did withdraw Redistrict 7 to represent a black majority of population, but not black majority of voting power. We refuse to be hoodwinked and bamboozled into thinking that a line drawn to show majority population is greater than majority voting age. Make District 7 right. District 7, we call you out to do what's right. Don't go along with what's wrong, but meet the needs of the people. Don't go along with what's wrong for self-interest or to hold a seat. We are in a 911 situation. We want a response. And I remind them when Flavor Flav connected rap to reality when he said 911's a joke, but we're not. We are here now, and we're not going nowhere. We're going to make sure that things are done right. We're not going nowhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thorne.
Elizabeth Luther. Following Elizabeth Luther is Nehemiah Cooler.
Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Luther. I reside at 258 North Claiborne Street. That is in the historic district of Dauphin Square downtown. And the reason why I'm here is because of some confusion and things that I've heard being said about people who live downtown, the residents, and that is that we are supposed to just assume if we don't like noise, we shouldn't live here. And so, and what makes it confusing is like all the noise waivers that get passed through you all the time. Just this year, there's been 58 of those submitted, and almost 50% of them are in District 2, where I live. And the thing is, how are they going to be monitored? I mean, who enforces the rules? I appreciate the comment, like whenever they have something in a park, you have a noise waiver, it says that you can't get over a certain number of decibels, but how do you enforce that? And then also the hours that you're giving these. I've even seen some where they ask for a waiver to be from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. That sets a precedent that if it could happen in one district, it could happen in any of them. And so the other thing is that we have the entertainment district, and I think that is where it gets confusing. And I read the act and the ordinance, the one that was introduced first in 2013, and it has been amended in 2016. Am I wrong? Yes, I have it. So anyway, the thing is, we're trying to figure out how do you get the designation and how is it also enforced? I know that it allows you to go from one bar, get a cup, can't be over 16 ounces, an open container that you can walk around within that entertainment district. But then how is it enforced? We asked that question last night of the new precinct police officer. He's new, so I'd like to know how that's going to be done. And so just as a citizen and as a resident who loves downtown Mobile, I mean, we are very tolerant. We deal with the Mardi Gras and stuff like that. We accept that. But we also want to make sure that whenever these waivers are given, is that they are enforced. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to ask our Public Safety Director if he can just give us a brief answer of, what she asked, how it's enforced and everything, just for the public knowledge also.
So with the ordinance being in place, we, from time to time, if it's a violation of the noise ordinance, we have decimal meters, and we bring those, and we will at least try to assess the noise situation using the decimal meter. As it relates to the drinking in the downtown area and the entertainment district, again, we try to make sure we follow what the ordinance say, and we enforce that based off a need to do so. Usually, we always try to use compliance versus citations or arrests, but if need be, we've made arrests. So we continue to try to follow the ordinance as it is written, and we try to make sure that we use compliance as a mean of concurrence with what we do. So that's how we typically enforce.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Nehemiah Cooler. Following Nehemiah Cooler is Rose Johnson.
Good morning, Council. My name is Nehemiah Cooler. I'm the Operation Manager of NC Sports. This is Peyton Clarkston, Assistant Operation Manager. Our CEO, Tanika Steele Cooler, is here today. What we're here today is...
Can you give us your address, please?
My address is 3661 Airport Boulevard, Mobile, Alabama. We're here today. The topic is to talk about the Gulf Coast Baseball Combine. This is an opportunity we bring it to Mobile. What this opportunity will bring to Mobile is it will bring 150 to 300 baseball collegiate players, seniors, to play in Mobile, to play 8 games total. As they play these games, it would end up being a championship, but these are seniors that are actually graduating from colleges, and they would be seen by Major League scouts, minor league scouts, and also independent league scouts. And this will be the first time this type of event has ever been held. I've already secured a place, the University of Mobile. They will host us. Not only have they said they will host us, we have got not only the venue, we've got the food. Mobile Sports Authority told us if we can pull it off this year, they'll support us next year. The MLB told us if we pull it off this year, they'll support us next year. What we're here today is to ask for support, either sponsorship or partnership with the city of Mobile, to give young men across the Gulf Coast, and not only across the Gulf Coast, across this nation, to be able to bring baseball back to the city of Mobile, the county, and everywhere else, where young men who have played baseball with their dads, as their dad being their first hero, playing baseball, can play it here and have opportunity. This will be the Senior Bowl of baseball, where they'll be able to come and play. And that's what I'm asking for. I have actual sponsorship letters. I have flyers. I have other information. If you want to get a hold of me, contact information I've already left with you guys. And we have endorsing it. It was endorsed by Jake Peavy, Leon Jones, Chris Booker, and all these players are from the Gulf Coast.
Hey, kid, you bringing in those flyers with you on today?
Yes.
Or if you can just leave it with our city clerk, and she'll make sure she give it to us.
One of them have an error. Day 4 says day 3, but we are making a correction to that.
Okay.
We'll have a flyer. You know what day 4.
And also, if we could get one that we could put in our newsletter, so if you have a PDF or something that you could send to us electronically, then we can do that.
Okay. All right. Is what email address do I need?
And you can send them to the clerk as well.
Okay.
If you'll give them your.
All right. Thank you so much, y'all.
Thank you.
For your time.
Rose Johnson. Following Rose Johnson is Darlene Martin.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Rose Johnson. I live at 26 McPhillips Avenue, Mobile, Alabama, 36604, District 2. I'm here to speak to Mobile redistricting. Our census data shows Mobile is a majority-minority city as of 2020. I urge the City Council and Mayor to develop a plan to educate the community and provide for community input that will promote fairness and equity in redistricting. We are required by federal law to develop district lines that will not discriminate or dilute the impact of cohesive groups of voters. Toward that end, I urge the City Council to authorize a racial polarization study to determine what percentage of Black voters is needed per district for these voters to elect a candidate of their choice. Mobile and Alabama has a regrettable history of discrimination. An open process leading to a fair and equitable redrawing of districts will go a distance in righting that wrong. The mayor has introduced a plan, and organized community groups have presented additional maps to the City Council. It is critical for the public to understand and give input on maps that will be with us for a decade, and to develop maps that will allow all voters to impact their representation. I urge all council members to hold public meetings as set out in your own redistricting guidelines, presenting all proposed maps to inform citizens. Our mayor and council have brought about many positive initiatives to improve the well-being of our citizens. A fair and equitable redistricting process may be your most long-lasting move to an even more productive and participatory government in our city. Thank you.
Darlene Martin. Following Darlene Martin is Ruth Ballard.
Good morning. My name is Darlene Martin, and I live at 2411 Cross Street in the Africatown community. I'm here today to speak about the required redistricting the city is currently undergoing. 2 months ago, yesterday, the mayor presented this body with his proposed redistricting plan. Unfortunately, as we all know now, the map he released failed to meet the most basic obligation the city has in its process. As a result, that failure, 1 month ago, a coalition of community organizations from across the spectrum joined together and presented a set of alternative maps, which, while not too far from the mayor's, are much more likely to meet the federal requirements and moral obligation. Over these past 30 days, though, almost nothing has been said about the community maps or about the plan to do a racial polarization study. But we all know that the clock is ticking and that every day that goes by brings us closer to a vote on the mayor's map. This is why today we urge you to address the community maps. The maps which is voted on by this council will dictate the future of our neighborhoods and communities for at least a decade. We deserve to know where you stand, what you are thinking, what are your concerns. This should be a conversation. We were told this would be a transparent process, but instead it appears the process is taking place behind closed doors. We need to hear from you. Your citizens need to hear from you. I hope you will heed this cry for transparency and speak out. In standing before you all again today, reminded me of how many times Moses had to go before Pharaoh before God moved. And we all know how that turned out. Numbers 13:33 says, "And there we saw the giants." With this being said, I would like to encourage you. When you see giants, use the kingdom truth. You don't need earthly wisdom, and you don't need earthly strength. If you are courageous and use what you have been given, in this case, the community maps, it will be enough if given to Jesus. He will bless it and it will prosper. Thank you for your time.
Ruth Ballard. Following Ruth Ballard is Ramsey Sprigg.
Good morning. My name is Ruth Ballard. I reside at 2557 Garfield Street, off Jakes Lane, right at the Africatown Community Garden. I'm a founding member of the Africatown Heritage Foundation Preservation, and I'm the representative of on the Africatown Redevelopment Corporation Board. I grew up in the shadow of International Paper Mill, and I have seen pollution or industry all around me my entire life. I am a twice survivor of cancer as my brother. Sadly, I have lost 3 siblings to cancer, and to the best of our knowledge, there was no family history of cancer until our generation. Those are the reasons why I've been involved with Mobile Environmental Justice Action Coalition since my friends and neighbors founded it almost 9 years ago. We have kept MEJAC alive because we want action on the pollution issues in our community. There's a small group of Africatown neighbors and supporters here with me today because we care passionately about Africatown and what it will look like in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, and beyond. We have interviewed, we have lectured, we have marched, we waved flags. We have met with a multitude of planners telling them every time that we do not want any more polluting industry in the area. We continue to say that we want what is polluting around us today to be stopped some kind of way. We're here today because, as we understand it, an important part of our community future is contained in zoning laws. I'm calling on the Mobile City Council to support MEJAC Africatown Safe Zoning Amendment to enhance the UDC's Africatown overlay to form an unmistakable safe zone where I live and pray. I believe that Africatown is sacred ground, and maybe that wasn't understood in 2015 when the future land use map for Africatown was created, but it's undeniable today. I'm also asking that you all support an update to Africatown neighborhood plan, and especially its future land use map, to better reflect our vision for Africatown as a World Heritage Destination, a wonderful place to live and raise children, and a community to connect to our water. Please support MEJAC Africatown
Ms. Ballard.
Safe Zone.
Ms. Ballard, I hate to stop you, but I have to stop you at 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming down.
Good morning, Mobile City Council. My name is Ramsey Sprague. I reside at 63 South Fulton Street in District 1. I'm the president of the Mobile Environmental Justice Action Coalition, or MEJAC, as it's been called since its founding by Africatown residents almost 9 years ago. I'm also the Mobile NAACP's Environmental and Climate Justice Chair. Because we believe that Africatown is sacred ground, Africatown's environmental justice advocates want the community's will to be heard clearly, even where it may not be comfortably heard, where it may not be accurately recorded, where they may be cast as outsiders in their own neighborhood, and where the concerns they've wrestled with their entire lives are absurdly reduced to the influence of 1 or 2 people. We understand that the version of the UDC recommended by the Planning Commission on March 10th would prevent incompatible zoning districts from becoming newly established in Africatown, and that's good. As are other elements of progress we've seen over the last 4 years, but derogatory land uses and existing incompatible zoning present in Africatown today must also be explicitly mitigated and addressed. We feel strongly that most of the Africatown neighborhood plan is workable, but that its future land use map is flawed, and that there is an immediate need for the city to command resources to augment the existing plan with expertise in industrial land use cessation, de-escalation, and mitigation. To address concerns too long ignored, we have drafted a safe zone amendment that each of you have received and the mayor received. Our amendment does several things. One, under the intent and purpose, clause B1, our amendment would make explicit the interest in, quote, the avoidance of further industrial encroachment and the elimination over time of those industrial activities that are incompatible with nearby residential neighborhoods, end quote. 2, under clause B2C, instead of, quote, accommodating the existing development pattern of the community, it would instead read, implement the goals of the Africatown neighborhood plan, something we should also support, and which is good guidance for code. 3, it would also amend the chart of permitted uses in the Africatown overlay to reject use categories to establish a safe zone to protect residentially zoned districts from further harm from incompatible uses by explicitly rejecting the continuation or expansion of 41 industrial or otherwise incompatible uses as they are defined in the UDC. Like I said before, Africatown is sacred ground. And with y'all's good hearts and sound vision, the once-in-a-lifetime potential in Africatown today can be realized in the thriving residential lives of its children to come. Thank you for your time and careful consideration of the Africatown Overlay Safe Zone Amendment. Thank you.
Joe Womack. Following Joe Womack is Chris Maddox. Chris Maddox.
Mr. President. Yes, Carol. I kind of briefly read over some of the requests from Ramsey and the community group from Africatown. It appears as if, though, a lot of this, or the amendments being requested, are simple agreements that were made in a previous meeting with me in the community when it came to zoning changes that affected the industrial encroachment upon the community that was still structurally sound. Most of them look pretty good with some slight wording change. I wouldn't have a problem with when we get to the UDC committee meeting of maybe proposing or adding these amendments to the UDC. I'm going to send this over to Ms. Biko. Also, let her take a look at it. I don't know. I watched the Planning Commission when you guys were on it and all the comments that were made during the Planning Commission. I myself have come to the conclusion that there are some amendments that need to be made for the industrial encroachment on that community. So I'm in favor, but let's look and see if we can clean up the language a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Yes, sir. Sorry about
My name is Chris Maddox. I'm on the board of directors for Mims Park Athletics. We're a local nonprofit baseball program centered at Mobile's Mims Park. I want to thank you guys for listening to me today.
Can I get your address, please?
5213 Model Lane Drive North.
All right, thank you.
All right. For decades, teens have gotten to enjoy Mims Park Field A because volunteers like myself have given our free time to help facilitate our mission. That mission has been to make sure that the opportunity to play baseball, the game we love, is available to any and everyone, regardless of skill or economic status. We need the city support and give us the normal time we've had in the past, like Municipal, West Side, and our Dixie Youth Program does at Mims. Just last year, we had 140 players on 12 teams. For a competitive 10-game season, it takes about 30 play dates. Most of our players are under driving age and require a ride from a parent after work. Those parents also want to see their child play as well. A lot of our players and teams play the travel ball tournaments on the weekends, so we have to function during the week primarily. We also think it's important for these players to be kids, enjoy the weekend, go fish, go to the beach, or just recharge. Travel ball has priced many kids out of the sport because money is involved. Day in and day out, parents are having to beg, borrow, just for their kid to play a kid's game. Grown adults are profiting from running teams, academies, and tournaments. The stress and injuries on these kids is also an unhealthy byproduct. Pressure to win and spend 5 to 10 hours a weekend on a baseball field is not healthy. We now see 2 private travel teams that will spend their money elsewhere and have gotten permits for times we normally use the field. We were told by the Parks and Rec that we couldn't have a permit until Murphy was done on our field. We all agreed to it because it's what we've done for decades. We're very appreciative that we have a new synthetic turf field that we don't have to pour thousands of dollars into every year to keep safe, playable, and attractive. I myself cut the field for 8 years during our permit, 2 to 3 times a week during the summer. My own personal equipment. This will give us time to coach these kids up and help them out a little bit more. Our program, along with Murphy Baseball, asked former Councilman Mr. Williams in 2019 if he could seed or resurface our field. We got way more than we ever asked for. We've been excited about our growth. We've seen the growth. Now the Parks Department has gone against years of precedent and cooperation between us to permit out the fields to 2 travel ball teams that will spend their money elsewhere in other states and cities and municipalities. We only have 2 months to play our season because the new permitting procedures limited us on the time we're able to use it. West Side will not have a season on the big field. Matthews Park will be under construction in a few weeks. Municipal hasn't offered a program for teenagers in decades. We asked, where can these kids go play baseball if we cannot receive the permit we requested for our time to play? Why is the parks creating scheduling?
I'm sorry,
conflicts?
Mr. Maddox. That's your 3 minutes there. I would like to ask Councilmember Reynolds, do you have anything to say?
If Mr. Maddox could be extended one more minute, I'd be appreciative of that.
One more minute.
That's about it. Our program deserves to play there, considering it's who it's built for. We're in dire need of more places to play that are safe and adequate for high school athletes to play on in this city. We've only got one right now in this whole city. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Reynolds.
Yeah, Mr. President, I appreciate Chris, the two of you coming down, and it sounds like we got a bit of a scheduling issue, and maybe one we didn't always foresee when we decided to invest the well over $1 million into improving the field at Municipal Park and making it a synthetic turf field, which I'm very happy to see that it was done. But we see a higher demand, an increased demand that we haven't typically had to deal with as a city over the years. And, as Matthews Park gets online and we got the new synthetic field out there, we may see some relief come. But all of this really just seems like a scheduling issue to me. And I would hope in the coming days and weeks that we'll all be able to work together to resolve whatever scheduling issue exists and still accommodate the new desires and wishes and use of the field, along with the traditional use of Mims Park. But we all got to be flexible in all of this and trying to reach a solution that it gets the highest and best use for the taxpayer at the public park. And so I would invite you guys to speak with Ms. Smith while you're down here at City Hall and see if, or maybe someone from her team, and see if maybe there's an opportunity to, find some common ground and move forward, make sure that our youth have a safe, nice place to play. And you guys, thank y'all so much for all the work y'all did this year. 53% increase, if I'm not mistaken, in participation this year. So great job. Thank you all.
Mr. President.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, just one statement here as well. And you mentioned West Side. That's sort of, it's in my district, but not in my district because it's surrounded by city property, but it's a county asset. So we're going to look at that. We do need more facilities. I've already started meetings with folks in Parks and Rec and talking with Randall Dewitt in the county. So we're going to look at being able to expand. This is a need. Baseball and America go hand in hand, and we need more facilities for our young kids to play that sport. So look forward to helping you out with that as well.
Anthony Hoffman, regarding Resolution 4282. That's the public nuisance.
Council, my name's Anthony Hoffman. My business address is 5 Dauphin Street, Suite 301. I'm the General Administrator for Mobile County. I'm here. I was appointed to represent the estate of Kay Vickers, and I addressed the council 2 weeks ago and was asked to come back. This property was recently brought into my estate, having just been appointed. Since the last meeting, I've entered into a purchase agreement for the sale of the property and begin getting approval from the probate court, Judge Davis, for that sale. I've also been working with the insurance company adjusters to come down. The adjuster has not made it to see the property yet, but as soon as he does, I'm on my third adjuster or fourth adjuster. Fourth adjuster, there's a local one, and apparently they're a little busy, and so I'm trying to get him out there to look at the property. I'm trying to move forward as fast as I can to achieve the goal for the neighbors and for the estate in doing my job. I just wanted to let y'all know that, and if there's any questions.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for working this. I've talked with Mr. Don Paul about this. Can you come down, Mr. Don Paul, and just, if you will, just give us where we are and what your recommendations are at this point, based off of what you're doing, what you're seeing. My concern at this point, honestly, is I know you've got a contract for the sales, but there's no date on that. And now I find out there's a problem also, if I'm not mistaken, there's a current mortgage against that property, which could create some issues. Where do we stand with that?
I'm in contact with the mortgage company. The amount for the sale should cover the mortgage price. There's no date on the actual purchase because it's subject to probate court approval. I cannot sell, as a county administrator, I cannot sell real property without Judge Davis's approval. And so in this situation, it's an as-is purchase. It will cover the amount of the mortgage. There is one small nuance of the law is that the heir has a very, very, very small amount of a tax debt. We'll have that covered as part of the closing as well. So the closing, once it's approved, should be able to go through. That's not the problem. It's just a matter of getting court approval to do it, and that can take different time periods. I'm going to ask the court to expedite it, but if there are statutory requirements for publication that need to be addressed, we'll have to publish that sale. That's the reason why there's not a set date in the purchase agreement.
Okay. David, if you can give us your recommendation at this point based on the facts and evidence before us today.
David Dockenbaugh, Deputy Director of Municipal Enforcement. What we have is a great situation here. We have somebody working towards finding solutions, which is sometimes we rarely see at City Council. So I do think we have 30 days, and it might be reasonable, since we've just heard the gentleman say he's doing everything he can legally to accomplish the goals that we want, is to sell it to a new owner to renovate. We have 30 days. It might be reasonable to extend this 30 days to see where we come out with some of the legal steps so he can sell the property.
Mr. President, move that we table this for 30 days and then take it up again at that point.
We had to get to the item first, Mr. Jones. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Reggie Hill regarding resolutions 21304, 21327, 02, 019, 20, 2122, 21319, 60305, and 08223.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill, 1007 Center Street. I rise today to address those items reported. Because we don't have much time to present on these matters, something I will discuss in a little bit. We can be brief with the initial concerns. As I stand before you today, I'm reminded of the wise words once shared by Plato. I quote, "If you do not take an interest in the affairs of your government, then you are doomed to live under the rule of fools," close quote. 60-305, how can citizens obtain the complete information pertaining to such settlements? Is this a request for the executive branch, the city clerk, or who would that be privy to? 21-304 and 21-327. I will take those together. How is it that we have a $146,000 contract for analysis services being voted on today, and a $100,000 contract being introduced as well to remove floatable litter? Basically, the same group is receiving both of these contracts. Are they surveying the scope of work, or are they actually fulfilling an already existing agreement objective? 21-319, no one in this city has campaigned more than myself about drainage. So to see this to see this and have us investing these resources in this fashion is not only a must, but it's commendable. So I say kudos to each of you. As we begin fully forming the fiscal year 23 budget, my hope is that drainage will be at the forefront of the CIP discussion. 08, that's 323. Yesterday, I watched the presentation on policing when asked what was the root cause and uptick of violence within our city. Everything, including broken systems, poor parenting, and lack of community involvement were mentioned. What struck me the most was this idea that there will never be enough money to address these concerns. That's why I'm so alarmed that poverty was not mentioned one time in this discussion. And it makes sense, seeing that how we are allocating our resources right now. For example, with this agenda item, last week, it was $75K on kitchen utensils. 2 weeks before that, $630,000 on chairs, and I was spending $83,000 on some furniture. And this is not even a new facility. So with the little time that I have left, since it's being just read today, and we'll talk about it more, I'll get to it. During the Jones administration, the chief of staff would consider those sentiments that were sent in on the Thursday before the council meeting. And during that time frame, they would get to the results of solving an issue. I think that might be something that we can consider now. We're talking about getting things in writing. We're talking about all these matters, but yet I'm still waiting for simple questions that were asked like 3 weeks ago from all these bodies. So we're going to consider anything in Section 2 of the municipal code, and I apologize, citizens. It was my fault. I hope that we can think about extending the time for citizens to communicate. We've seen every person that's come up here for this day not being able to address fully their concerns because of the limited amount of time. So next week, I will address it more since this is the first read. Thank you for yielding the floor.
One thing what Mr. Hill had mentioned, you can have a seat, Mr. Hill. Thank you so much for coming down. You had spoke about the resolution 08-323. That is actually a new facility. That is the first precinct that's going down on Dauphin Island Parkway. The precinct right now that's currently at Virginia Street really is not a precinct, but this is going to be actually the first one for precinct 1 that we will actually have one. So that's why they're purchasing new furniture.
It's an existing structure. That's what
Yeah,
it's not a new.
you know the rules. Anybody else have anything? Anybody else have anything else want to address Mr. Hill's questions?
Just, Mr. President, just
Yes, Ms. Jones.
one statement with one question you brought up was the floating litter contract. And I did reach out for a question, got an answer already on that. That organization has picked up over 17,000 pounds of litter in the last year. And, I think that's proof that they're doing what we've asked them to do. So I have no issues when we get to that, voting for that to extend.
And again, Mr. Hill, just for your questions to the administration. Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions held over. 4282, declare the structure at 6401 Pinehurst Run a public nuisance and order it demolished.
So move.
Second.
Just the one on the.
Mr. Jones, I thought you wanted
you're gonna lay
to
over
lay
30
this
days.
over.
Yeah, right. I thought we had to get it to discussion.
Move to lay over.
So move delayed over 30 days.
Second.
Been properly moved to second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Laid over 30 days.
Resolutions held over. Are there any objections to any of these? I'll take them together. 01301, authorize agreement with the Architects Group for improvements to Langham Park and Public Safety Memorial Park. 08302, approve purchase order for fuel for various locations. 08303, approve purchase order to Syntec Systems for annual warranty and support for Fuel Master fuel system software and equipment. 21304, authorized contract of Osprey Initiative for citywide stormwater litter collection and analysis services. 6305, authorized settlement agreement and release of claims.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Ordinances being introduced, 02019 through 64024.
Per council rules, these ordinances will be laid over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 37308 through 6318.
Move to waive the rules in order for these resolutions to be considered.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk.
37308, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a lounge retail liquor Class 1 license for City Sports Bar on Dauphin Island Parkway.
Mr. President.
Yes, let's bring it to discussion.
Oh, I'm
first,
sorry.
Mr. Reynolds.
Thought it was.
So move.
All right, second.
Second.
And properly moved in second. Any discussion? Mr. Reynolds.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. After reviewing this application, it appears that this applicant really ought not be getting a approval here as a result of a criminal history and an arrest shortly thereafter submitting this application. And item 4 of the Alabama law says one of the reasons we should exclude someone for one of these applications or approvals is an individual applying for the license has a prior conviction involving the use of alcohol or a controlled substance. And if ever there was someone who met this, I think this is one that we probably shouldn't issue. So I moved to shoot down.
Yeah.
Just vote it down.
Let me let's hear from the public safety director. Then I want to also hear from our attorney.
Council President, sir, I told you I'd be prepared to at least address the concerns. As stated by Councilmember Jones, there is a prior history of arrests of the applicant, Terry Bush, who also goes by the name of Johnny Holyfield. That brought some concerns to the narcotics unit as they investigated this case. 1993 was first arrest, approximately 5 years sentence served in federal prison. 2001, subsequent arrest, 5 years, approximately 10 months in prison. 2016, domestic violence related assault charges in Texas. And then, of course, approximately 4 days after filing application with the city for the license on February 7th or February 6th, 2022, there was a subsequent arrest for possession of controlled substance, which led to the narcotics unit recommending denial of this application.
Okay. And Ms. Aldridge, going on what Councilman Reynolds has stated earlier about us following the guidelines for ABC, was he correct or incorrect or?
That's correct. I'd like to point out on the application, in at least one spot, the applicant stated that he had never been charged with a law violation. And in another spot, said only had 2 traffic tickets, which is clearly a discrepancy. Even though some of those convictions were a while back, the state law that gives y'all the authority to consent to all of these applications contains several reasons why a denial could be upheld, one of which the individual has prior conviction involving the use of alcohol or controlled substance, doesn't have a time frame on that, and also any other reason that poses a risk. You could plausibly defend it if it wasn't approved, and just you don't need to make another motion. Just don't vote for it, or if you want to grant it, you can grant it.
But the state law really determines or guiding us really to pretty much to deny.
Right. If it's not one of those reasons, then any denial is going to be overturned.
Do we have any other discussion from this council? And again, for the people that's out looking at TV and also the applicant, we only just follow state laws, and we up here to uphold the law. Okay? Any other discussion?
No, the motion is to grant the license.
Yeah, to grant the license. Any other discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
Opposed.
Motion.
$37, $309, $310, $311, $312, and $313 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a retail beer, table wine, off-premises only license for Circle K on Rangeline Road, for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for Poindexter's at Azalea Road, issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for Faux on Azalea Road, and for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for the Juicy Crab on Airport Boulevard, and for issuance of a special events retail license for Cinco de Mayo Block Party on Schillinger Road. 4314, declare the structure at 1300 Greenwood Avenue a public nuisance and order it demolished. 58315, assess cost for removal of weeds, Weedling Group 1621. 60, 316, 317, and 318 are approve and award a special bonus to the Parks and Recreation Employee of the Month, Public Works at Large Employee of the Month, and Public Services Employee of the Month.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moving second. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Jones.
for 37313, which is the special events retail liquor license request, is that just for the Cinco de Mayo day I didn't see any dates or anything. I'm assuming it is, but have we seen any dates on that?
You know, I looked for that. I just assumed it was the 5th of May, but there wasn't a date that I saw.
Recommend we hold that over 1 week and get some specific dates and times on that, please.
Event date is May 5th.
Okay. All right. I'm good with that.
Hey, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
CIP resolution is being introduced, 21319.
Per council rules, this will lay over for 1 week.
Resolution is being introduced, 01320 through 37330.
Per council rules, these resolutions will also lay over for 1 week.
Announcements.
I'm going to start with District 6, Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening at 6:30 at the conference room of SADS Healthcare, 1515 South University Boulevard, we'll be having a neighborhood leader and HOA leader meeting to discuss the FY23 CIP priorities and plans. Look forward to seeing you there for that. On Thursday evening at the Connie Hudson Center at 6:30 p.m., we'll have our District 6 Community Week meeting that will focus on the 311 process, as well as CIP and redistricting, as well as annexation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. We're going to hear from District 4, Councilman Reynolds.
Very briefly, we will have a capital improvement committee meeting at 1 o'clock today in the council conference room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. We'll hear from Councilman William Carroll, District 6. All right. District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Spring is on the way, and we're gearing up for our Spring Clean Easter celebration. It will be a free family event on April the 16th at the Dodge Community Center in the great District 1, Trinity Gardens community. Grab your baskets. Join us for an Easter egg hunt. Snap photos with the Easter bunny. Also a petting zoo will be taking place. Food vendors will be there. So we want to thank Mobile Parks and Recreation for putting this great event on in District 1. My family and I will be there, so hopefully you will be there as well. So everyone in District 1 invited, as well as the City of Mobile, come out and celebrate with District 1.
Thank you, Councilman Penn. We'll hear from District 5, Councilman Davis.
No announcements, Mr. President.
We'll hear from our Vice President from District 7, Vice President Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. President. This afternoon, following our CIP meeting, there will be a Public Safety Committee meeting also. We will be focusing on low-speed vehicles and the proposal that we are looking at. This past week, we had several events in the district. One was the annual fundraiser that we haven't been able to do in the last 3 years, and that's the One Enchanted Evening at Mobile Botanical Gardens. A wonderful gardens. Everyone who came out was just marveling at how pretty it is and how many improvements have been made over the years. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who made that happen, all of the volunteers, and to my colleagues, Mr. Penn and Mr. Carroll, who also came out for the evening. It was great seeing everybody there. On Sunday, we had the official pavilion dedication at the fire station 18, which is at McGregor and Museum Drive. A new pavilion has been built by the Village of Spring Hill, funded by the Village of Spring Hill and a lot of donors. They partnered with the city to make this happen. It was something that, as the fire station was being built, was discussed that the firefighters would like a place to be able to come out and enjoy, as well as to bring the community in. So that has been completed and dedicated on this past Sunday. Tomorrow, we will be in Mobile Terrace from 10 until noon with staff members to work with people who are interested in applying for grants for roof repairs. This is all part of the ARP money. We will be at Jerusalem Baptist Church. It's New Jerusalem Baptist Church on 1st Street at 7220 1st Street in Mobile Terrace. Again, from 10 until noon. You can pick up applications in person and also speak with staff if you have questions about the application process. And that's all.
Thank you, Vice President. And to the citizens of District 3, This coming Saturday will be our 8th annual Easter egg hunt, Penn, not the first one, but held at the Taylor Park, which is located at 1050 Baltimore Street, inviting all the kids from ages 0 to 12 years old to come out this coming Saturday for plenty of food, fun, games, and also Easter egg. And the Easter Bunny is planning on being there also. Again, that will be from 3 to 5 o'clock p.m. this coming Saturday. And again, inviting all the kids from District 3 to come out this coming Saturday to Taylor Park. Also, District 3 residents, please mark your calendars for our spring meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, April the 26th. And this will take place at the Mobile Downtown Airport, located at 2455 Michigan Avenue. It will start at 6 o'clock p.m. The president of the Airport Authority, Mr. Chris Curry, is hosting us. And also, we will have other city officials to come out and address some concern that you may have, such as public works and also drainage and et cetera. If you have any particular item that you would like to be addressed at this meeting, I ask you to contact me as soon as possible at cj.small@cityofmobile.org or either 251-208-7441. Again, that meeting will be held on April the 26th on Tuesday, actually 2 weeks from today at 6 o'clock p.m. And again, to all the citizens of District 3 and to the city of Mobile, I do wish everyone a happy Easter. Is there anything else from this particular council? Anything from the administration?
Nothing further.
Motion to adjourn.
Properly moved in second. Any questions? Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Meeting is adjourned.